Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Federico Talks Watches. Today, I'm honored. Here in the Del Rey Watch office and YouTube walk-in closet studio, we are joined by Eric Wind. How are you, man?
Good. How about you, Federico?
I'm fantastic.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for driving down from Palm Beach. I gotta say, and for you guys that don't know who Eric is, you must not be massive watch geeks. I've been following your work since well before I had a YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you. I've been following your work from the early days of Del Rey Watch.
Oh my God. Good. Well, I'll take that as a compliment. Yeah. I hope you don't judge too harshly.
Absolutely not.
But before we get started, I'm sure every watch geek wants to know, what are we wearing today? So what are you wearing?
Today I'm wearing a Pepsi GMT from about 1978. Just sold it today to a very good friend of mine, so last go round. This one is unpolished case and really nice condition.
1675?
Exactly, yep.
1675. And actually, I'm wearing something I just sold to a very good friend.
Oh, good.
Which is a Gerard Perregaux rose gold roll time chronograph. Mike, if you're watching, you're going to love it. And don't worry, guys, I have his permission. A lot of people say, you just sold it. Why are you wearing it? I have the permission of the person.
Same. Jack, you're going to love this.
So I figured, since we have you here today, and you are, one of the most preeminent experts in vintage watches, right? Patek and Rolex, mainly. Why don't we talk about, off the top of our head, what are some watches that are vintage or may not quite be vintage yet, that we think are going to be future collectibles or future investments? I don't believe his watch is an investment necessarily, but can we really deny with the market today? Everybody's is trying to get a piece of the pie, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I figured, we'll just go back and forth, pick a few watches, and see what we think are going to be future, or pickups right now. They're going to be great value in the future.
On the Rolex side, I think a watch that's getting a lot of interest from people that I know are interested in them. Some people trying to stockpile a few was the Polar Explorer 2 from the 1990s. The Killer. 16570.
That was the first watch I ever sold, a Del Rey watch.
Oh, wow.
And I sold it for $4,000 retail. And now wholesale is in the low fives.
Yes, at least, yeah. And really nice ones I've seen trade even above 7 or 8, depending on condition. So I think that it's sort of an interesting watch because it's a white dial sport Rolex. Not many white dial sport models.
Yeah.
A lot of people feel it's a great summer watch, great winter watch as well. So and it also looks pretty cool on a strap, a brown leather strap. So
that it does. But be careful with the. I've seen some really bad bezels on those.
Yes, yeah. They get conditions, everything, whether you're buying a watch like that or buying a very expensive watch, in the six-figure range. Mm-hmm. So a lot of very highly polished cases, etc. Unfortunately, if they've traded hands a few times or if they've gone back to Rolex. I personally joke that my personal hell in life would be to sit in a Rolex polishing room and just watching them polish all the watches they get every day. That would be hell on earth for me.
Here's one I think is going to be a future classic. And in Federico fashion, I don't know the reference number, but I'm sure you do. Yeah. Or maybe not. Not the Rolex, the Patek Philippe Neptune, the 37 millimeter on that beads of rice bracelet with the power reserve and date and moon phase.
I forget the reference, but I know the watch.
So all I know is that it's very limited production.
Yep.
It's stainless steel, which for a complicated Patek outside of Nautilus and Aquanaut is extremely rare.
Yep.
Beads of rice is making a comeback.
It is.
And it's the same movement that's in the Nautilus.
Yes.
And these can be picked up for as low, and they're going up, but as low as $20,000-ish retail. And the rumor has it they made, less than 500, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty limited.
Is that a recipe that you think for future collectability?
I mean, a lot of the trends that we see in pre-owned are related to modern. So interest in the new Pepsi really ignited after the re-release of the watch at Basel World 2 years ago. And the same thing's happening. Actually, a lot of people contribute the rise of the Neptune recently to the Lange Odysseus coming out, and people saying that Patek did it better 20 years ago. So,
what is your honest opinion on the Odysseus?
It's not my favorite watch. I was very happy to see Lange come out with a watch in steel. I do feel, for commercial reasons, that at some point, I was telling people this for years, that we would see Lange make steel watches again. They now have. But I really believe one day we'll see steel Lange 1s and datagraphs available at retail.
Steel datagraphs?
There is reportedly one in existence. But just the commercial pressures of running a massive luxury business, the margin, they can charge the exact same price they charge for platinum. Maybe they'll knock it down $5,000 or something.
Just out of principle.
Yes, out of principle, but then they'll be making so much more profit, and they'll sell a lot more watches because the Datagraph is such a heavy watch. It's
a grail of mine.
It's a great watch, but a lot of people I know that own them sell them because it's too heavy on their wrist. So it's I think that's what it's missing.
Perfect. All right, so Polar Explorer, Neptune. Did you have another one you think
on the Omega side? I think the Tintin. A lot of people have hyped it for a while, but it doesn't get the attention of the Snoopy models, and I think it's really distinctive and an important watch.
But, is it going to go higher? Because they've already... That was a $35,000 to $4,000 watch a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And now we're talking, what, $8,000?
Yes, yeah. But there's not that many out there when I look. So
I bought one at Costco.
Yeah.
In North Miami Beach about a year and a half ago.
Wow, that's crazy.
It literally, I was there shopping for industrial quantities of whatever the hell you shop at Costco, and there was a new Tintin in the display case. And then I only had an Amex, and they don't take Amex.
Oh, no.
So I had to drive all the way home and come back because I didn't want to put $4,000 on a debit card.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think that could be a $10K plus watch in not too long, potentially.
$10K plus. What do you think of the new Speedy that just came out? 321
Ed White.
Ed White.
Yeah, I mean, it set the forums on fire, like Omega forums and everywhere else. I think it's a really well-built movement. I think a lot of people were saying, how dare this be a few $100s more than a Daytona? But I think it's kind of silly because this is much more hand work involved in the production.
It's a better movement.
Yeah.
The movement, I mean, okay, better is an awful term. It's a more luxurious movement.
More hand intervention in the production of it. And I think it's great. It's certainly, there was a bit of a quiet period for Speedmasters. It's one of my favorite models personally. I did a reference points for Hodinkee on the Speedmaster.
I did.
And I love them. That. But it was kind of quiet after July. There was a lot of people buying Speedmasters in advance of the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11. Then it kind of got quiet. And now thanks to that model being introduced on the first Tuesday of the year, just like a year ago with the 321 being announced, I have had a lot of inquiries the last week about buying Speedmasters.
And do you think that is going to be a future collectible?
I believe, this is my guess, that they will not produce very many of that watch because it's going to be very difficult to produce. So there'll be a lot fewer of those produced than people think. It's not going to be, I don't think it'll be 10,000 plus a year made of that watch. I could be under 1,000 produced in the first year. And the demand will be so high that I could see secondhand going really, really like 20 plus on that. I could see it. It's a question of, supply versus demand.
Fair enough. Opposite the Speedmaster, there is one, and I might be cheating by saying this because these have shot up in value already, but they're still very undervalued. What do you think of the Rolex Daytona, the Daytona Beach series?
Yeah.
With the colorful dials.
Yes.
I remember 2-3 years ago, on a strap, those were, $15,000 watches.
Yes.
And now they're very much 20 plus, especially the more desirable colors.
Yes, yeah. I think they're not as common as people think as well.
They're rare.
Yeah, you don't see many. It's not my favorite model by any means. I'm not going to be wearing it personally, but it can be very beautiful on a lady or someone that really wants to flaunt something.
Oh, come on. A little Hawaiian shirt, a white Testarossa on a Daytona Beach.
I mean, that's not my aspiration in life, but for some people it may be.
Fair. Oh, man. And, something else I noticed, and this is not necessarily related to this, but I wanted to get your opinion now that you're here.
Yeah.
5711s are going nuts.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody sees that. You see this. What's going on with the Calatrava? Because right now you can pick up 5196s or 5119s. The entry level Calatravas, they've gotten, dare I say, almost cheap for what they are, inexpensive.
Yeah.
I mean, a hobnail Calatrava, 10, 11 grand.
Yeah.
And a 5196, a couple thousand, maybe more than that.
Yeah.
I've never seen them this low.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is people liking white metals. So the 5196P is one of the most beautiful time-only watches made.
And is that the one with the brigade
numerals? And that 2.5 years ago, those were trading in high teens to 20. For really new old stock, it'd be like 21, 22.
Mm-hmm.
And that it was still being made. Retail was 37 or 38. Now,
which is crazy for a time-only watch.
And platinum, but now at the most recent Christie's auction in New York, the last one sold for $27,500, and they're really shooting up.
So
the white metal, really attractive stuff appeals to younger people. The hobnail bezels, yellow gold. A lot of 33 millimeter watches. Those are
older people.
Very hard to sell. And that was the aspiration on Wall Street in the 80s and 90s, to get your hobnail bezel, white dial looking with Roman numerals. It's just not our...
But a 5196P has the Win stamp of approval on it.
I love it. And I do believe that watch will continue to move up in value. It's moved up already about 10K in 2 years.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. Well, guys, this is why, I really don't know. I mean, I'm in tune with the market value of watches, but anything more than 15, 20 years old is really not my thing. It's really an honor to have you.
Thank you so much.
On one of my videos. It's, never thought this would happen, to be honest.
Thank you,
not to be a fanboy.
No. Thank you so much.
I hope we get to do this soon. Guys, please let us know if you enjoyed this. I found out Eric lives literally about an hour away from my office. So I don't know, maybe this could become an ongoing thing.
Yep, absolutely.
Who knows? But please don't forget to smash that like button. That way it helps the YouTube algorithm. Let's be honest about that. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more content. Thank you so much, and we'll catch you in the next one. Take care.